guys, and welcome to day 8 of the 100 Days of Making Comics Challenge. For those of you who have just joined me, my name's Chris. I'm an illustrator from Melbourne, Australia, and I am currently undertaking the 100 Days of Making Comics Challenge, where I spend 30 minutes a day, every day, for the next 100 days working on my independent comic, Monkey Junk. Now that that's out of the way, let's update you guys on what happened yesterday. So, yesterday was sort of one of those busy days. It was back to work, which was great because that horrible 40-degree weather starting to come down, and I was in a nice air-conditioned office, thankfully. So very thankful for that. By the time I finished, it was still a bit muggy and gross. Got home, had dinner, and I actually, unlike my normal sort of weeknights where I just am home working, I actually went out to the movies with my dad and went to see The Darkest Hour, which is the new Gary Oldman movie about Winston Churchill. Highly recommend it. It was a fantastic movie. I personally didn't know a whole lot about Winston Churchill sort of going in. I knew little bits and pieces about him, but yeah, it was a fantastic movie and really enjoyed it. Knowing full well that once I get home, I still have to spend time catching up on work. Of course, as I mentioned last week, I still have my schedule to make sure that I get work done on Kill the Hero, work done on the children's book, and my 30 minutes a day on Monkey Junk. So had to sort of squeeze in a couple of things last night to try and make sure that I'm meeting deadlines and whatnot. So the first thing I did was Monkey Junk to get that out of the way. Last night I wasn't really sure where to start, so I pretty much just started my timer, and once I hit start on that, it just sort of forced me to do something, which was really good. It was actually, I quite like the exercise of setting a timer every time I do this now. One, I know that I'm doing my 30 minutes every day. Two, when it does go off and I'm sort of really into it, sometimes I just keep going, which happened last week. So I think it's a really good practice that I'll probably continue to do, just to make sure, even if I'm not doing a challenge, just to say, okay, well, I need to do at least an hour of work tonight, set the timer, I'm against the clock. It actually makes me less, makes me procrastinate less. I'm not sitting on Facebook or Reddit or anything as much. I'm more focused on, well, I've only got this allotted amount of time to get this done, I better do this. So anyway, so I worked on Monkey Junk. Wasn't quite sure what to do, so I jumped back into the first page, the sketch. I tidied up that last panel which I showed you guys yesterday. There were just a few little bits and pieces that I wanted to add in that vending machine. I wanted to add a few more snacks and things, just to add a little bit more detail. There's a few little hints in there that lay into the storyline further down the track. Nothing too insane, so you don't have to read into it too much, but they're just little droplets of candy throughout the, little Easter eggs, that's the word, little Easter eggs that, will scatter throughout the comic. And that's something I want to do for the majority of the comic, is knowing what's coming ahead, sort of gesture to it early on. So for anyone who reads it and then rereads it, they're going to pick up on these things. Or it might even make them question, like, oh, what's this doing here? This doesn't make sense. Even though it might just be a background character or something like that. And that's, sort of the intention. To just create a larger world rather than just the base story. Whatever's happening in the story is affecting everything outside, and you're going to see that throughout the comic, which is going to be a bit of fun. So I finished that up. I did also finish panel 3, which was the close-up of the vending machine. Now, I didn't really do a whole lot of work on it. Pretty much I just copied the bottom layer, duplicated it and enlarged it, and just added a couple little more details just to make it look, there was some certain areas that weren't filled in, so I just created a little bit more on that vending machine. After that, I still had 20 minutes. It didn't take me long to do that. I didn't want to start inking or anything on that page. I feel like it's ready to start on the inks. So I went back into the trading card and started work on that and finished all the colours. So I'm happy to say it took me a little bit longer than 20 minutes, but happy to say that that's finished and done. I've emailed that off to Mike, who's in charge of organisation on the trading cards. Whoa, there is a lot of traffic today. So yeah, so that was finished. I'm really glad I got that done. I'm going to post the entire video over on my Patreon for you guys, but you can check out the picture here. So yeah, that was a really fun piece. I'm glad that sort of came around at the time that I started Monkey Junk, just because it allowed me to I feel like doing that pin-up sometimes helps solidify the characters for me. I did it in the first round of Monkey Junk. I actually did like a big pin-up, which ended up being a filler page for, like, it was one of those weeks where I just didn't have as much time to do the comic, so I did a filler page for the web comic version. And that was really fun to do, taking all the main characters, putting them into just a pin-up scene, like a, you know, as if it was going to be like a comic book cover or something. It allows me to play with the colors a little bit, allows me to understand the characters a bit more, play with their mannerisms, and just as an overall, just look at it as a solid finished piece. So that was good. I'm glad I did that, and that was about it. I spent the rest of my night just watching a bit of telly and working on the children's book. So my goal for the children's book, I don't think I mentioned this last week, is I have 8 illustrations to do. My goal is to do 1 illustration a week for the 8 weeks. So the duration of this job should only take 2 months, give or take. That's all pending on customer approvals and things like that. So my goals are to do pencils and inks within the first couple of days, and then at the end do all the colors and send them off to the client. So currently, as far as last week went, that worked. I don't know how it's going to go this week. I feel like it's going to be a push, and I feel like Kill the Hero is going to suffer a little bit. But I will be trying, with having Monkey Junk to incorporate into my Patreon is going to help, because Kill the Hero was sort of the main protagonist of my Patreon account, whereas now it's going to be a mixture of both. But no matter what I do, it's all going to end up on Patreon. So I will be making sure that none of my patrons sort of get left to the wayside. I will make sure that they get all the, you know, premium access to all my content and things. I just need to make sure that I divvy my time up accordingly. But the children's book, I'm almost in half a mind to just stay up, do some really late nights, and just hammer through it and get it out, because I don't want it to become too much of a burden like I did last year. If I could knock it out within the month and just say get all the sketches done tonight, and then get, you know, all the inks done this week, and then just have to colour for the rest of, you know, the next 2 weeks, that'd be completely ideal. So I might even look at my schedule and just see what I can muster up to do to make that achievable. If I could finish this children's book within a month, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But I'll keep you guys posted on that. Otherwise, there's not really much to report. I did my 30 minutes, I did some more art, I chilled out, and I saw Darkest Hour, which I highly recommend. Go see it if you're into dramas and World War II movies and things like that. It was really good. And Gary Oldman was fantastic. So, alright, that's me. I'll catch you guys tomorrow for day 9. I hope you're all doing well. I haven't managed to catch up on everyone's 100 days videos yet, so I will be trying to do that over the next few days while I'm working. It's just been a bit of a struggle at the moment, just trying to concentrate on work and watch the videos and everything. Oh, and that reminds me, assuming everything goes well with work, I should be going onto the Artcasters on Friday, which is their Thursday. So this will be the last one while the Kickstarter's still running. So I just have to double check while I'm at work, but hopefully that's all good, because I really want to get on the show. It's been a long time and I miss those guys. So I don't actually think I've been on the show with Josh, so if I could get on and hang out with Josh and Scott, that'd be awesome, and whoever else manages to get on as well. So yes, I'll update you tomorrow on that if I'm going to be on there, so you guys can set your dates. Alright, catch you tomorrow. Have a good one. Goodbye.